We are living inside the most expensive, elaborate illusion ever created by human beings. We are absolutely obsessed with love. Movies, pop songs, billion-dollar wedding industries, and dating apps are all built on a single, untouchable premise: that one day you will lock eyes with your absolute soulmate, the music will swell, and you will live happily ever after. We view romantic love as a universal human right. But here is the brutal, uncomfortable truth that history tries to hide from you. If you built a time machine, went back to ancient Rome, medieval Europe, or the ancient steppes 3,000 years ago, and told your ancestors you were getting married because you fell in love, they wouldn't congratulate you. They would lock you up. To the people who built the modern world, marrying for love wasn't just a silly, childish fantasy. It was considered a literal threat to national security. It was a danger to the survival of the entire community. For 95% of recorded human history, the concept of a soulmate was essentially a scam. You did not marry a person. You married their farm. You married their family's military power. You married their cows. So, how did our ancestors survive a lifetime chained to a partner they might absolutely despise? And more importantly, if romance is a modern invention, why did we invent it at all? To understand why ancient people didn't date, you have to forget everything about modern life. Today, if a relationship fails, you get your heart broken, you listen to sad music for a month, and you move on. If an ancient relationship failed, people literally starved to death. When humans stopped hunting and gathering and settled down to farm around 10,000 years ago, something completely new was invented: property. Suddenly, people owned land, crops, and animals. And the second you own something valuable, you need to protect it. Marriage was the ultimate insurance policy. Let's say you are a potato farmer in ancient Mesopotamia. You have land, but you don't have enough hands to work the soil. Your neighbor has 4 strong sons, but terrible land. You don't take your daughter and ask her who she has a crush on. You march over to your neighbor, and you make a business transaction. This is where the concepts of dowry and bride price come from. It was a literal exchange of capital. A marriage contract was a merger between 2 corporations, designed to combine wealth, share labor, or prevent a neighboring tribe from wiping you out. If the bride or groom happened to actually like each other, that was considered a lucky bonus, not the requirement. In fact, many ancient philosophers thought that being passionately in love with your spouse was a flaw. In ancient Greece, intense romantic love was viewed as a type of madness, a sickness that clouded your judgment. They believed that if you were too obsessed with your partner, you would make terrible decisions for the family business. Your job wasn't to write them poetry. Your job was to keep the bloodline going and make sure the harvest didn't fail. If love wasn't the deciding factor, how did you actually end up with someone? You didn't swipe right. You got audited. Enter the matchmaker. In ancient societies, the matchmaker was the ultimate algorithm. They didn't care about your hobbies, your favorite music, or your sense of humor. They cared about hard data: lineage, social standing, how many sheep your uncle owned. Think of it like a high-stakes job interview where your entire family's survival is on the line. Imagine waking up on your wedding day, walking to the altar, and looking at the person you are going to spend the next 40 years with for the very first time. There's no awkward first date, no getting to know you phase. The contract is signed. The dowry is paid. You are now business partners in the brutal enterprise of surviving the ancient world. The pressure was immense. If the farm failed, or if the alliance broke down, your marriage failed. It was a ruthless system designed for one thing: stability. But what happens when you try to force human nature into a cold, hard contract? You can force 2 people to sign a contract, but you cannot program human emotions. Human nature is stubborn. When the strict rules of society collided with actual human biology, the ancient world had to invent loopholes. Enter the ancient nightclub, religious festivals, harvest celebrations, and seasonal rituals. These were massive, chaotic events where the normal, rigid rules of society were temporarily suspended. This was the one time of the year when young people from different villages or clans were actually allowed to mingle. Suddenly, the massive walls of the class system softened, just for a night. And it wasn't just massive festivals. Even the most mundane, boring chores were opportunities for rebellion. Fetching water from the communal well, washing clothes at the river, or gathering firewood. These were the rare places where a stolen glance, a whispered conversation, or a secret touch could happen away from the watchful eyes of the matchmaker and the village elders. Love wasn't the foundation of ancient society, but it survived in the shadows. It was dangerous, it was secretive, and it was entirely unauthorized. People still experienced the spark. They just had to hide it behind the grueling business of staying alive. So, we zoom out, from a harsh, survival-driven ancient world to today. Today, we have the ultimate freedom. We can swipe through thousands of potential partners on a piece of glass in our pockets. We demand passion, perfect communication, and a soulmate. Yet, we also have the highest rates of relationship failure in human history. Our ancestors had absolutely zero choice in the matter. Their marriages were arranged by algorithms of wealth and land, entirely stripped of romance. But those unions were built like fortresses, designed to weather famines, wars, and decades of hardship. It leaves us with a massive question. Is the high-pressure, emotionally demanding love we chase today actually a better system? Or did our ancestors figure out a brutal but effective truth that shared struggle and a solid contract build a stronger foundation than butterflies in your stomach? I want to know what you think. Drop a comment down below. Would you rather survive a medieval marriage contract, or are you sticking with the chaos of modern dating? Hit that subscribe button for more history they didn't teach you in school, and I'll see you in the next episode of Stickman Talks 23.